Okay, well, welcome. We, as you know, are opening up this weekend. I'm doing this Facebook Live deal earlier in the week so that we have the opportunity to kind of get this information out there ahead of time before we open up on Sunday, June 7th. So uh, we had I'm going to actually do another one of these on Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some online options. We had some problems with Facebook Premiere this past weekend, and so we've added another option where we can actually go to our website and follow it. And I'll be saying more about that, but we'll still have the same other platform. We're just going to add some more. So I want to talk to you just for a few minutes about this weekend as we reopen. The last 2 months have changed people, and people look at things differently now than they did 2 months ago. So I want to just explain to you a little bit about what I'm sensing and this conversations that I've had with people to kind of let you know a little bit what everybody is thinking and how we're going to go forward this month. So right now, based on our survey, there's basically about three main groups in our church. The first group, about 26% of the people, so about a quarter of our fellowship, our congregation, they're nervous. They're concerned. In some cases, they have systems that are compromised, or they're getting ready to have surgery, so they can't put themselves at greater risk. Some of them are age-related. Some of them are health issues. We have people who are in high-risk environments during the week, and they are nervous about coming because they respectfully don't want to give this to somebody else in case they would be a carrier as well. So we have that group of people, and we've decided that in order to minister to them, um, we're going to continue the online thing in order to meet their needs. It's about a 10-hour commitment on my part each week between um, recording it, editing it, publishing it, dealing with copyright, dealing with all of the stuff that's involved with it. But since we're not doing Sunday school on Wednesday night, I have the time to be able to make that kind of commitment. So that's what we're going to do. So to that group, we're going to continue to be able to minister them at least through the Word of God. The second group is a group that wants to attend right away. It's actually the largest group, about 39% of our group. Out of that group, 17% of them basically have said, look, you don't have to change anything. You can go back to doing it exactly the way you did it before, and I'm okay with that. I'll be there. Um, they basically kind of have this idea that they're just kind of tired of the whole thing. Some see it as political, some see it as media, some see it as hype. They understand the risk. They just decided that, you know what, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, and I'm just going to go on with my life. Actually, for that group, they're probably the easiest ones for us to minister to because we don't have to do anything different for them. But that's the group that I'm probably going to ask some of the most from. The third group is a group that they want to come. They really want to be here. They want the physical face-to-face interaction with people. They miss that. But they don't know what to believe. They're conflicted. They want to see people and they want to have fellowship, but they also don't want to put themselves at risk or their family members at risk. Um, so in order to minister to that group of people, we're going to have to change some things in the way that we do things to help ease some concerns. For that group, we have to kind of minimize some of the risks until society and science kind of get on the same page. Right now, I think it's just way too early to separate fact from fiction. I mean, we're still figuring out, the issues of surface risk of something that sits on a surface, and there's all kinds of stuff all over the page on the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of masks. So, as we approach this as leaders, we basically have a couple of options. One option is we can just stay online. And we can look at the last two groups and say, you know what, we're just not ready to do that. It's just too much work, too much effort. Um, the problem with that is we miss ministering to about 75% of our congregation. We could do the online thing and focus on the people who don't want us to change anything. And we can just say, you know what, look, we're going to go back to the way it was and come when you want to come. But the problem with that is now we miss an opportunity to minister to that about 36% or almost over a third of our fellowship. Or we can do the online and we can make some changes and we can minimize the risk and we can minister to the entire group of people. But now that means that that second group is going to have to restrict some of their freedoms. It can't be the way it was. It means that that third group is going to have to give us some trust and give us the opportunity to work with them and alleviate some of those concerns. So we're going to go ahead and go forward and open up on Sunday. For some of you may not know that, but my first couple of years out of college, I was involved for about 2.5, almost 3 years in camp work. And we would bring in counselors. We'd have counselors all summer with us from colleges, Bible colleges. And then we would bring campers in every week, everywhere from primary kids all the way up to high school kids. And they would be with us for a week. And one of my roles was to train the counselors in how to handle these kids. And one of the things that I used to always tell my counselors at the beginning of the season was, look, when those kids come in on Sunday afternoon and you set your cabin rules for Sunday night, you need to know, you need to make them harder at the beginning because you can always let up your rules. But if you lose control of that cabin and then you go back and try to enforce rules and make things stricter, you're going to lose the battle. And that's kind of our approach. At the beginning, we're going to set things up and so that we can always adjust them down rather than coming in and finding out, oh no, now we've got to adjust everything up. So, we understand that by opening up, we are all assuming a risk. There's a risk that somebody could come in and not know they're positive and give it to other people. And if that happens, then we need to inform everybody that was there that somebody tested positive and deal with all of that. So, we got to kind of keep track of who's there on Sunday. We've never had to do that before, but we will. We know that this is spread. The science is clear. This is spread through physical contact. We know that. So one of the few things all the science can agree on. So we've established a 4-question policy for everyone to ask before they come in. Have you had a cold or flu in the last week? Have you run a fever of over 100.4 anytime in the last 14 days? Have you had prolonged exposure to somebody who is positive? And then do you have any health or medical or age-related issues that just say you shouldn't be around people because your system's somewhat compromised? And we've asked all of it. If you answer yes to any of those questions, we're asking you to stay home. That's what we want you to do. Watch online. But if you're going to come, we want to minimize the physical interaction. So we've done all kinds of things. We've set up hand sanitizers. We actually have more coming. We're going to establish for the first 2 weeks literally a touchless type service, where the only thing that you really have to touch is your seat and an individualized communion cup. We're not going to have bulletins. We're not going to have any of the greeting time that we normally have. We're not going to have the children's sermon. There's not going to be any hugging or shaking hands. We've taken chairs, and right now we have over 350 chairs set up in the building, so people can kind of space out. We've got 2 rooms just set aside as private rooms where they can watch everything and still get to see people come in and out. Regarding masks, here's what I would say. If you normally wear one when you go out in public, please wear one on Sunday. I don't want you to feel like, because other people aren't, then you need to do that. No, I want you to do what you normally do when you go out in public as well. Understand that there are going to be people there who do wear masks and there are people who don't, and that's okay. We've decided not to require them. We've decided not to require temperature checks, and I'll explain more of that on Sunday, but why we did that. And if you're not going to be there, just email me and I'll shoot you an email or call you and kind of walk you through our thinking on that. Here's the thing. We have to gain the trust of people who are willing to give us a chance. And trust is something that's really hard to gain. It's very, very easy to lose trust. We have a church of incredibly loving people. You show that with your hands, with your words, with your actions. Many of you show it with a handshake or physically with a hug. It's your love language. And I understand the last 2 weeks last 2 months have been brutal for you. But here's what I would say. I love my wife, but when one of us has a cold or a flu or is sick, we give each other some space. We don't hug and kiss like we normally do. We just wait a while until we're a little healthier. And that's what I'm asking of you. I'm asking you the next 2 weeks, look, no touching, no hugging, no handshaking, anything like that. And here's why. In the last 2 months, people and society have changed. When someone coughs now, you don't look at them the same way you did back in January because things have changed. And we have a whole group of people that in the last 2 months have had all kinds of experiences, both good and bad with this. And so we have people that actually, before this, were okay with hugging. In fact, some cases were known as huggers, but they're not now. I've talked to people who, honestly, they're afraid to come because they said, you know what, everybody's hugged me before and I've always hugged them, but now I don't want to be hugged. And I don't know that I can say no to them or explain it to them, so it's easier if I stay away. And I said, well, how about the online thing? And they said, the online thing's not doing it for me. I miss seeing the people, but I just don't know that I can come because of that concern. So before this, it was not a problem. Now it is. And so I want to caution you. The people have changed, and we're going to need a little bit of time to all get on the same page and to be able to figure out a way to minister to people who want to be hugged and people who don't, people who want to shake hands, people who don't. So I'm just asking you to give me. So I've talked to people who are afraid to sing because they're nervous about it. But I'm talking to them about getting them to a point that they're willing to take a risk and trust us. So we need to be considerate and respectful of it. Look here, and I'm going to say a lot about this on Sunday, but one of the most frustrating things about this for me is that I have to do everything in a public forum right now. Everything I say, I have to think about how this is going to be perceived in the public who doesn't know me and who doesn't know our congregation. And if you'll think about it for a minute, you talk to your family differently than you do to someone out in the public. And if you know me, I'm better at the verbal stuff than I am at the written stuff. So one of the first things we're going to do on Sunday is we're going to have a family chat. And I am looking so forward to that. We're going to just sit down with you as our church family and say, okay, folks, let's walk through some of these things. And I don't have to worry about it being misconstrued or taken out of context in a public forum. So here's what I'm asking of you on Sunday. I'm asking, first of all, follow the guidelines we've set up. Please don't make my job harder by creating fires that I have to put out each week. We're going to adjust where we need to adjust so we can get back to seeing and encouraging and being face to face and really being able to do the thing that we do so well in helping each other. And I know that you miss it. We'll get back to it, but I just need a little bit of space and time and trust until then. So I'm asking that you be patient, that you be understanding, that you be gracious and respectful. Right now, people are really, really sensitive about this. So even joking is making people uncomfortable. So I just want to challenge you. Give me Sunday. We'll have a family chat. And I think a lot will become a whole lot clearer when we can do that and when we can get together. And I know we have smaller groups that have started to try to get back together in fellowship. And people are talking about how great it was to see each other and to laugh and to share stories and all of that. And I'm looking forward to that on Sunday. I've missed it as much as you, but I just want to challenge you to help us as we go forward. Give us a little bit of time, and we're going to get through all of this together and come out a lot stronger as a result of it. So Wednesday, we're going to meet 10 a.m. We're going to do a deep cleaning of the building. We're going to, some of us are going to be working outside, setting up the planters and things like that. So if you can help us, we should be done by noon. Last week, we were done in about an hour and a half, and we'll get that all knocked out. And then Sunday, we're going to open the doors at 9:30, go through those 4 questions, make sure none of that is true. And we will open the doors at 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'll have our service for everybody who's online. We will have an online service at 10 o'clock as well, just like we have been doing. So have a great week. We are looking forward to the weekend more than you can imagine. So let me know if you have any questions. If you're not going to be there on Sunday, or if you've got questions beforehand, shoot me an email, call me. We'll answer all the questions that we can, and we'll get through all of this. So looking forward to seeing some of you on Sunday. Lord bless you. Have a good week.